Well, Jada, thank you so much for joining me here on the Entrepreneurial Success Podcast. I am thrilled to bits to have you. It's going to be an amazing, amazing episode because you have got some great stuff that you're going to share with the audience today, all about Instagram. And let's face it, we all love Instagram. It is one of the best platforms in order to get visibility from, number one. But before we dive into all the good stuff, why don't you just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Yes, thank you, first of all, for having me on the podcast. I'm super excited to be able to share my knowledge with your audience. But my name is Jada Sinclair, so I'm the owner and founder of Glow Vibe Social. So it's a social media branding and marketing agency paired with a lifestyle platform. So I'm all about Instagram and profiting with your passions and being able to connect with your audience online. But what I found is your mindset is usually 90% of the work. So I like to incorporate mindset and success strategies inside of like all of my like business and Instagram trainings and coaching. And I kind of just embody that because without it, you're just running yourself around in a circle.
I love that because you've also got a little bit of a story about how you got started. What was the kind of motivation and the kind of push for you to decide, listen, I'm going to start my own business now. So tell us your story, because I always find people have got the most successful stories that they want to share. And it always started with that one moment or that moment of where you just have faith and you just realize, I've got to do this now.
Yes, and seriously, and usually for some people in that moment, they're actually pushed to it. So you're pushed where something's going to happen to where you have to make a decision that, okay, I now have to do this or I'm going to be in the same situation. So for me, I started off modeling, which is why I understand Instagram and influencers. So that was a fun thing for me. I live in Los Angeles. Now I live in Orange County. But, you know, LA, it's all about entertainment. So, but no one was explaining to me how people were actually like making consistent income. You can go to these certain things, but how are you able to like to literally have that life that you want and to be able to afford it? Because my main pillars are financial and time freedom. I didn't want to have to be a slave to my job or what I was doing. So I was retail modeling, and then I transitioned into selling cars, which is very funny for a woman. I was selling Maseratis, Fiats, and used cars. And I was hustling so hard, working sometimes 60 hours a week. And this is another, like, I don't want to say block, but another thing that I notice in myself that can hold me back is I like to overwork. So in this situation, I'm in an all mostly guy industry, and I was getting myself sick to the point where I was having pre-stroke symptoms, where sometimes I couldn't drive to work because I would get a aura in my vision to where like my vision would go a little off. I would lose my memory for a little bit of time. I would like throw up for 3 days straight and lose weight. And like, it's what happened to me at least once a month. And it was getting crazy. Yes. I would go to the doctors. They would tell me I was fine and they couldn't find anything. So it was like they were thinking it was partial seizures, but I was going through this. And I remember one time being at work, and I would be able to feel when it was getting ready, when my episodes were going to happen. I was in the middle of demoing a car with someone, which is me, you know, showing them the car, trying to sell it. And I felt it coming on. So I go to one of my managers, who's a guy, and I'm letting him know like, hey, something's wrong. I think something's happening. And he's like, Jada, go out there and finish the car. You got this. Come on, go finish the car. And it was just like, I was like, no, I think something's wrong. He was like, Jada, you got this. Like, come on, you got this. And I had to like go back in the back, and I was like sitting on the stairs, feeling myself. I'm like, yo, if no one cares about me and I'm not caring, it's not going to work. So from that point, I literally did get really sick and I couldn't drive home. And another episode did happen. And it was kind of like a hitter for me because my mom was like, okay, you have to stay home. Like you have to take off. I had to go on medical leave. But I was not getting any money during that time because it was taking time for that to hit. So it was like, how can you make money from home? It was like right then I was like, you have to figure out a way where you can always make money, rather if you're sick, rather if you have to be down, you have to go take care of your daughter, or you have to help with your family, like you'll be fine. So that enough was just like, I have to do it or I'm going to have to be stuck living at home. And that's not me. I moved out when I was 18, got my own place. So I was somebody who's like, I'm independent. And it was almost like the universe was pulling away my freedom. And it was like, what are you going to do? So I ended up getting healthier, like going on a whole cleanse, getting into that. And through that, because what I did realize is everything that you go through, it is leading you into helping you with whatever you're going to be like going into. Like car sales, for example, helped me with my digital business. It helped me understand that you don't have to be capped at an income. And it helped me understand that you can actually go out and make relationships with people. And it taught me how to sell a little bit. So it was beneficial for me. And I had to own that confidence in order to really step out and say, okay, no more BS. I'm going to do this. And from there, it was like, so like most people, I kind of like, you're randomly doing stuff and you say you want to do things, but I was trying any and everything and it wasn't always working. So even though I decided then and there that I wanted to have a business, it wasn't exactly like successful. So the reason why I got to kind of Instagram, I really started off helping people with like mindset, but I wasn't a coach. I didn't have the expertise to really tell you that I could confidently heal you because I was actually in that process, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, so I was like, okay, well, I was getting advice. I was like, I'm already posting on Instagram. Let me just make an Instagram throwing up quotes and inspiration. And I realized I was good at designing graphics and creating captions and understanding how to grow an audience. So I grew my followers to 5,000 followers just off of like kind of a boss babe mindset. And then I had someone reach out to me and was like, hey, can you manage and set up my Instagram for me? And I got my first sale on Instagram for $600 all through DMs. I didn't even have to get on the phone. And I was just like, oh, okay. Let's see what social media. Let's see what this is. Let's see what this is about.
Oh my gosh, that is such a lovely story. And I love the fact that you've said basically where you were before, but also I think it's that journey that you went on about the personal growth, the mindset that you had to go through, but also the fact that you decided like, this is something that I want to do. I'm going to go and start and find out really, how can I work from home? How can I have my own business? And you took the action, which is like you're saying, you're a very independent girl. You like taking action. You're always busy. And it is so lovely to hear your story. And thank you so much for sharing that. The other thing I want to ask you, which is really, really, how can I say, it's one of those things as well, because you've been in business for so long and you've been doing that, and you've got an amazing Instagram. For anybody who's listening and watching this video right now, you have to go check out Jada's Instagram. It is amazing. But what I want to know is that kind of journey has obviously evolved so much. And I've got a lot of coaches who's obviously listening to this as well. So what can you kind of tell them? How can they shortcut the process and how can they basically make it a bit easier for themselves?
Oh my gosh, it's like the thing that I wish I had known in the beginning. And so you can get started, as you can see from me, trying something out and getting a sale. But can you get that sale consistently on a consistent basis that's going to give you what you need? And it took me to hit that. And what I take with me now is you always need someone who's above you who can help you get there. And I actually don't hire someone if they don't tell me they have a coach. Because if you don't tell me you have a coach, that means that you have stopped your process of evolution. And we know that my knowledge never stops. Like I'm like a baby to some people. And it's like, you're like, you know so much. And I'm like, oh yeah, I do. And it's because there's always going to be someone who's 5, 10, 15 years ahead of you. So to shortcut that journey, it's really important for you to find a mentor, find a coach, like who can literally walk you through the steps. Because I was literally working on, like, for example, I was working on lead magnets before I even knew what my offer or what my audience was. It was just like, you're doing step 5 and you should be doing step 1. So I'm like, it's really good for you guys to go on YouTube, to listen to podcasts, to get information and to understand where to take that first step. But after that first step, now has to come, okay, what's the plan? What's the vision? Who can help me get there? You have to start asking yourself these questions. And if you don't know it, that's what all these experts are for, who do these things. It's like they are highlighting people who can either point you to someone or who can help you. So I feel like Google should be like just a start. So that's my advice to shortcut the process, is literally to find someone who's doing what you're doing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I couldn't agree more with you, because that's one of the things that I always say, in particular when I talk to a lot of other coaches, because even though we're coaches, I've got a mentor, I've got a few coaches, you've got a coach, and we know that as soon as we took that step, how things have just transpired all of a sudden. You're thinking, oh, it is just happening. But it's only because you've got that backup. You've got that 1 or 2 people, it doesn't matter how many coaches or mentors you have, but you've got that backup. You've got people who's actually there supporting you and helping you and pushing you to go on and keeping moving forward, but also keeping the faith and, helping you build your self-confidence, which is one of the things that I find can hold so many people back from
Oh
actually
my
evolving
gosh.
or starting a
Yes.
business.
So true. Confidence is it's in everything. Like you said, it's your mindset and your beliefs.
Yeah.
And that's actually, confidence is one of the main reasons why some people will not post on Instagram, because they're not confident showing their offer or showing themselves to the world, and they're not confident in like the results. So it's totally true.
Yeah. I actually have a lovely little story that I want to talk about self-confidence. And this is a little theory that I've got. It's all about taking the actionable steps. So once you take a step, let's use Instagram as an example, because we were just talking about it now. So say, for instance, somebody's got this kind of like self-confidence problem where they're not too sure about putting themselves out there on Instagram and posting things, or putting a photo or a video of themselves on Instagram. But the kind of theory is that once you've taken that initial step and put out your first post, you actually get a reward. So with every actionable step you take forward, you get a reward. And that reward is confidence. And then once you've taken that step, you go, oh, lightning hasn't struck, the walls haven't caved in around me. That's cool. I can do this again. And then you take that other step and you do it again. And again, you get rewarded with confidence. So the more steps you take, the more confident you get in what you're doing. Before you know it, you start taking leaps forward. And those leaps obviously gives you more rewarded, or rewards you more with self-confidence. And that is the best part about taking action. It's not just for the sake of taking action. It's knowing that there's a reward, which is the confidence that you get in turn, knowing that you can keep the process going, and you will see momentum and you will see things starting to happen. And I think that kind of segues a little bit into what you want to talk to us about, which is about an Instagram strategy, or how to really get properly set up with a strategy for 2020 and then using Instagram. So I'm going to hand over to you. Why don't you talk to us about it? Because this is your field of expertise.
Yes. And what is really cool when you think about Instagram is like, it's not just Instagram, it's also business. So I think that's the part that gets cut out. It's like, you want to go straight to Instagram. I'm like, no, it's literally, you have to have your business foundations in place. And so what do I mean when I say this? So example, for me, I got my first sale on it. I had nothing set up and it was like, great, but I wasn't able to keep that flow going. And then I'm doing random tasks. That is it's taking my time away. I'm not really focused. I don't really know if what I'm doing is making me hit a goal, because I didn't have a goal. And then if I do have a goal, it's like, okay, I want to make $10,000. People throw out numbers, but like your energy has to be there, and there is steps that you can take. But then it's like, okay, well, how can you make that happen? And it's not just on Instagram. So the one thing that I learned, because I did like engross and get myself into like Instagram training courses, like everything I'm telling you guys, I didn't just kind of pick up from me posting on Instagram. I got hired through a digital marketing agency remotely. So I'm learning things from them. And then I also I'm in a whole bunch of like programs and courses. I'm a knowledge geek. So I think I was probably a year or two into my business when a coach was telling me, she was like, if you don't have your business foundation set up, stop posting on Instagram. And it was like, because when you're posting right now, you're wasting your content, you're wasting your message, because you're not leading people to take action. And so your whole point of Instagram, it's a tool that you're using to market your business. So it's like, what's your business? I talk to people sometimes and they don't even have an offer, but they're posting on it. I understand you can be building an audience up ahead of time, but I'm more like, let me save you some time. You can do that, but don't do it for too long, to where now your audience is just getting free content from you and they're not expecting for you to ever make kind of an offer and really like serve their pain point.
My gosh, makes so much sense.
Feel free to stop me. I'm a fast talker, so if you have
no, please go on, keep on going. I'm making notes here. I'm sitting here, mental notes, making notes. I've got to know all about this.
So that the top 3 things that you want to focus on before you start posting onto Instagram is your brand strategy. So you want to be clear on, first of all, who is your audience? Because people, I like to use your Instagram feed as like a magazine. Think of a magazine, right? You have your cover and it's basically telling you a little bit of what's inside. It's drawing you in. But then when you flip and open it and you start going through all the photos and the captions, you get to see the story, the message. And then you can have something in there that says, hey, if you want more info, click the link in my bio. I'm giving value, not just selling, just to get more info. So, so if you don't have anything where you can give value, then you're actually not leading your audience into what I like to call your Instagram sales funnel. It gets a little markety, and I like to like make people not get too afraid when they hear funnel, because it starts being like, oh, that's too much words, it's too difficult. But all that basically means is it's a system that you're getting people in to be able to engage and nurture with you, so that you can give more value, but then see if you are a fit to be able to work with them. Yeah. And that doesn't usually happen on Instagram. Yes, like I told you in my example, it did happen, but I'm talking about consistent scalability and building that. Like, for example, Instagram can shut down. So I didn't have an email list. And we've all seen last year when Instagram was having outages. And I had clients who were freaking out because, oh, I'm launching this week and I'm supposed to be doing all these posts to gain excitement. It's like, well, what other platforms are you on? Where's your email list? Your email list is the only thing you own. I know people feel like it's dead. No one does that anymore. But I'm like, you got to have your list, because all of your followers, like I think only 10% of your followers actually will ever see your content. So that's why it's important for you to have a posting schedule. But that's why it's even more important for you to lead them to your list so you can engage with them somewhere else. Yes. So that was like one of like the key things that some people miss out on, is knowing who they're marketing to. And then it's having a system set up to where they can continuously be able to engage, give value, show them why they're an expert. And then for you to make an offer or invite them to get on a call with you if you're a coach, to be able to take that next step to see, okay, can I help this person? And how can I help them see the value in hiring me or purchasing my product or service? And granted, there is a different process slightly for like product-based businesses and service-based businesses. Like, for example, product-based businesses can post way more posts. One of my clients is fashion, and I can post 5-6 posts a day because people are expecting that from a clothing, a skincare kind of brand. But a coach or consultant, you have to be a little bit differently and be able to show lifestyle, authenticity, and personality mixed in with value and promo. So yes. For a coach or consultant, yeah, you're only real out of 10 posts, you want to think about it as every 10 posts only promote about 2, so like 20%. So that way you're not overwhelming your audience. And I know we've all seen like some MLM companies who literally every post, it's like the company's graphics, random words, random colors, and it's like, buy my thing, join my team. You're already lost. You don't even know who the person is. Yeah. All you know is the product. So that's why it's really important for you to know who you're targeting, and then to be clear on how do you want to show up in the world.
Yes.
So how that's like a key thing, and just starting there. And I know for some people it's like, no, but I want to like do the action. I want to like post and do something just to get it. That's something I hear a lot. I just want to get it going. Yeah. Because they feel if they post, then their ego feels like, okay, I'm being productive. And I want to tell you, being busy is not productive.
Yes. Very, very true. That is so true. Actually, I think I've got a Instagram post going out soon saying it's not about being busy, it's about being productive. Yeah. So and this is definitely, I couldn't agree with you more. I really want to highlight that, because obviously this is the kind of the 3 elements that you've got to think about having your business structured before you start obviously posting on Instagram. And it is so true, because I've seen it as well as a coach. So many people start going, oh, I need to post things. And they start posting like crazy, but they don't know who their audience is. They don't know what kind of strategy they have in place or what kind of funnel they have in place in order to capture that audience, making sure that they have their own platform, i.e. either a website where they can obviously manage them, or more importantly, that email platform where you can having that email list where you can obviously get the people and start nurturing them. Exactly. And then the last part is obviously, that nurturing process, but obviously making sure that you're doing things in a strategic way. It is not just about going for it. It's not about being busy. It's not about being busy.
Exactly.
So once that is in place, then what kind of strategy or what kind of tips can you give us about what to do then on Instagram?
Okay. So again, that's why, once someone has all that in place, usually I'm like auditing someone's like their brand, and then I will look at like their Instagram to see, okay, where are you at? Because you have to know how far along are you in your business? Are you a new person who doesn't really have like content yet or topics? So that's going to be a big factor in how your strategy is going to be. But you want to kind of start off saying, okay, what are my let's break it down into 3-month goals, because a lot of people can't see a full year.
Yeah.
So, so it's better for you to go, okay, for the next 3 months, I'm going to focus on brand awareness, which is getting a lot of content, letting people know about who I am and my value. Or maybe my goal is to grow more followers because I want more people in this niche to see it. Like, you got to have a reason why you're doing it. Like, some people, you're not jumping onto a warrant about sales because you're not there yet. Yes. And it can get a little bit too soon. So if you can focus on what are your main 3 goals, and then you have a strategy, then I have you backtrack and then look at your profile as a whole and get started now fixing your bio. Yeah. Making sure your headline picture is either a nice smiley headshot or it's a clear professional looking logo. Now, for businesses, the logo is very interesting because people we know are judging you. So Instagram is a visual platform, and your first 9 to 12 posts, people are going to look at when they go to your page to be able to decide, is this person of value? Do I want to follow them? Or even do I want to come back and engage with them? Because sometimes people won't follow you, but they know your Instagram handle or name, and they'll periodically check in on your page before they become a follower. So you want to make sure that your page, immediately when a new user looks at your profile, you have less than 6 seconds to attract them. So that's why it's important for your bio, your headline, and then those first 9 to 12 photos to literally give a snapshot of like who you are. Think of it like your website. It needs to be able to draw them in and make them actually now want to click on your captions and start investigating inside of your highlight stories to see more of your brand personality and things that you've done, and maybe some of your client testimonials. So it's not just, I tell them don't, and people always wonder, like, how do you get your Instagram page to look so clean? How does it flow? How does it get there? I'm not posting randomly. And if I am, I have a pre-planner that I use. I'm still able to drag and drop and to create the look that I want. Yeah. So I'm not stressing myself out with like, oh my God, I have to get content out, or I have to make sure the feed looks a certain way. And that just draws people in. But you can see as far, let's go big. Let's go like Kylie. She doesn't have to worry about her feed looking a certain way, right? Because she already has an audience. People already know her. They know what to expect, and they're just her fans already. So your profile doesn't always have to be like perfect and pretty, but it does have to be valuable, and it does have to make people want to click on your photo. Yes. Because I know people who are killing it in their Instagram. You would think like, oh, it doesn't really look pretty, and the theme isn't great. I was like, yeah, but they always do videos. Like, they're always giving content, and the videos are like straight to the point. The audience is what they need, and people are like, I need more. And that's what you basically are wanting to do. So you want to figure out, how are you unique and how can you be different? And what's the most important thing what people skip out of is you want to do research. Yes. Don't just go into Instagram posting. I'm not saying go copy somebody, but you want to see who are your industry leaders, who's already killing it on Instagram. Who do you look up to or like, oh my God, I love their feed. That's always my goal when I'm redoing a client's feed, is I want to bring their energy, their brand personality, so that they're excited about posting. Because when you're excited about your feed, that energy, like that excitement brings other people in because your confidence reeks out. Yeah. And that's what's going to attract clients and customers and sales. It's when people feels like there's hype and that you fully stand for what you're believing in because you know and you own your offer or your product.
Yes, I can honestly associate with that, because when I started my I didn't used to do Instagram at all. So I started my Instagram and I was one of those like, oh gosh, I haven't posted something, quickly post something. Oh my gosh, I haven't posted something, quickly post something. And it was random and it was all messed up. And then obviously I started going, no, we've got to make it clean. So I went back, completely changed the brand, and I started scheduling in advance. And so much so, I love being creative as well. And I love just getting beautiful things together and just having a description or chatting to people about my posts. And honestly, I have a full day, a Thursday, which is just, my whole Thursday is all about social. And that's when every Thursday, I just sit and I just get my content together. I just plan everything out. And it's exactly what you're saying. You're just so excited about doing it because you love it and you know it's going to work out. And I'm very visual and I'm putting everything together and I'm going, oh, this is amazing. I love it. And it's true. You get so excited rather than being on the back foot going, oh, I haven't posted. Oh my gosh, I need to do something. I need to do something. And it just feels like a chore rather than enjoying it at the end of the day.
Exactly. And then you're not making sure that you're lining into making sure that you're hitting now your sales goals. Like, are you talking about your promos and stuff when you're supposed to? Are you building it? That's why you have to look at the full picture. Like, what am I going to be promoting this month? What's my next thing I'm leading them into? So yeah, no, it's totally true. And I'm happy that you already know and recognize you're an Instagram expert.
Oh, no, I'm no expert. Trust me, I still got huge amounts to learn. I'm sure I can learn so much from you, which is why I'm so excited having you here, because I'm fully now at this stage where I'm thoroughly enjoying Instagram and I can see the results. Yes, I don't have a huge amount of followers, but that's growing, and that's fine with me because it is a natural attraction. It is not something that I'm forcing in order to have a huge following and showing off saying, "Hey, look at me, I've got a huge following." It's about that natural attraction, and it will happen and it will grow over time. And I'm fine with that. I'm happy for it to grow naturally and, obviously to build that kind of relationship I have with my followers.
Right, because you're not focused on vanity metrics. That's another thing that people will focus on. Is like, I had someone ask me, a client, and she was like, "Can you just like throw some followers?" I was like, "Well, why are we going to do that?" I was like, "Let's think about it. Why are we doing it?" So it's just kind of like, not to make you feel bad, but to talk yourself through it. And you're just like, oh, you're just trying to impress people and want them to think a certain way. And what is that doing? It's distracting you from doing the actual work. So I'm like, let's do the work, and then you can focus on different growth tactics to help your page. Maybe you can do boost or Facebook ads to boost your post at that point. But you don't want to jump into do these different layers until you have that foundation in place. And another thing that's key that helped me grow my followers, I think I did 10,000 followers in a year. Instagram, granted, the algorithm has changed, and followers and engagement, as we all know, is different. But hashtags, not just any hashtags, not just general hashtags, but strategic hashtags are how I grew my profile. And of course, engaging and really like you said, having those conversations. I met a lot of my business partners and friends off of Instagram.
Yes.
I'm like, it's social, but use it. These are real people. If you use it that way, that's how you're going to build your business faster, because you have collaborations. You'll have people who will be like, I know someone that you can help, or I know someone that can help you.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's how you and I met. We met through Instagram. I think you posted something on me and I posted something on you, and we started chatting, and the next thing we're like, oh, let's have a podcast interview about this. This is really cool.
Yeah. I was like, let me see, her page is so pretty. I was like, it's girly. I was like, who's she interviewing? But yeah, just as simple as that. So it happens all the time.
Exactly. And again, it's about that self-confidence, because and honestly, and I can be very open and honest about it because I'm very transparent. When I saw your profile and I thought, ooh, shall I ask her to come on my podcast? And I thought, oh, no, she's going to say no. She's really up there. I don't think I can. And I thought, you know what, just bite the bullet. Worst case scenario, you'll never have a reply. And I thought, I'll just do it. And you replied instantly. And you said, I'd love to come on your podcast. And it is just as simple as that. So for anybody who's listening about growing your Instagram, it is not just about the following. Yes, the following is great, and that is something that will grow over time, but it's about that strategy that Jada mentioned, having it beforehand. But then very, very important is about that relationship, that connection. Start communicating with people, start communicating with your followers, and just put yourself out there. Confidence. It's all about the confidence, just doing it. And I think it's the best thing I've done. And I'm so glad that we got to meet and we're having this podcast interview.
No, likewise, having these conversations really helps you bring out and hear things. It's yeah, that is true. It helps to reframe that in your mind.
Yeah. It's not just things people talk about and go, it's all these crazy stuff, these crazy stars and things, just magic happening out of thin air. It is as simple as communicating. That's all it is.
Yep. And then you can't compare your journey to someone else's. Yeah. Because like I said, mindset is everything. So maybe this person is starting off on a different plateau than you are. Yeah. So it's just use that person instead as inspiration.
Yes. Oh my gosh, Jada, I love this conversation. Before we conclude with everything, because I think, we've given the audience so much valuable information that they can obviously take from you. Before we conclude with everything, I know that you've got an Instagram audit freebie that you're giving away to the audience. And I think everybody is going to snap this up in an instant. But why don't you tell us about this audit freebie?
So it's basically giving you guys a snapshot of exactly what I said. Like it gives you a checklist on what you should have in place before you get started using Instagram. So you can kind of like check off to see, okay, I have this, I need to work on this. So then you can have in your mind to really make yourself go through those action steps to get closer to like your actual goal. And then I give you what kind of like an Instagram audit checklist is, which is what I do when I'm looking at someone's profile and giving them an audit. So you basically now can do it on yourself and understand what you should have in place.
Yes. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. And what we're going to do for all of you listening or watching this video, we'll have the link for the Instagram audit freebie down below in my show notes. So you can obviously go and have a look there. I'm going to link Jada's Instagram there as well. So please go and follow her. Go and see how she's doing, how she's laying out her Instagram page, how amazing she is and what she does. And for those of you who need a little bit of extra help, I'm sure if you get in contact with her, she'd be more than happy to obviously help you as well with your Instagram. Jada, I just wanted to say thank you so much for being on the podcast. Before we go, is there any last final tips that you want to tell the audience or give them?
The final tip I want to tell everyone is to have fun and be authentic. Business can be serious, but I feel like when you start adding more fun into it and really be inside your zone of genius, then everything kind of layers itself out. So have fun, be authentic, and make connections.
Amazing. Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for your time being on the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Have a great day.
Thank you,
so much.
you too. Take care.